How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you a new episode review and recap of a brand new Isekai anime. It is entitled Skeleton Knight from Another World. And today's episode is episode 1 with this ridiculously long title called The Wandering Knight Sets Out to Make the World a Better Place. That is literally a mouthful. But before I begin and go any further, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help out the channel immensely, especially if you hit that notification bell to be notified of more videos just like this. And don't forget to share the video. So, another isekai. It looks like springtime is the time of slicing life and the time of isekais. There's been tons of them, and one of the ones in particular that I really want to do being Shield Hero. It's going to be a little bit delay on that. I'm gonna have to Mushiko Tensei that one, where I just gonna have to rapidly catch up and then start right there when it comes to the videos. Um, yeah, this is an interesting one because the trailer came out maybe a little over 3 to 4 weeks ago, and I said, you know what, this looks interesting, but not too interesting. There's a quaintness to this show. And before I just go through the whole recap, I will say this outright. I like this character because Ark is not he's not operating under the whole this isn't real, I'm in this game world, and he's not doing anything for selfish reasons. Well, not overtly selfish reasons, right? He wants to enjoy himself, but he also wants to do the right thing. And then three, it's is not something we haven't seen before, which doesn't make it bad. I feel like a lot of animes now are trying purposely to do things so different that that's what their merits are. Especially another isekai that came out sometime last week, which in some of the groups I'm in, people are going, "You guys don't like it because it's Yuri," which lady on lady. You know, like because it's Yuri, or you're mad because the guy that looks like he's the main character got killed. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen that first episode, but I haven't even given you the name. But if you watch a lot of anime, you probably know what I'm talking about. Or if you're in those circles, you know what I'm talking about. I per I personally probably will not cover that one. Not because of the Yuri. I don't really care about any of that Yuri Yaoi thing. It's just the premise. One, the premise of it being people are being sent to this world, but hey, it's this girl that has to kill them all because people who are sent to this world from the mythical place of Japan are causing trouble. I'm, eh, I'm that doesn't stir me. Plus, a lot of people crusading. Sometimes when people crusade too much for a thing, it just makes you go. Eh, if I don't have any interest in it, and because you're being really weird about it, I really don't have any interest in it. It's just a thing that doesn't really move me. So let's get on to this one right here. So we start off. I mentioned a couple videos back in one of my videos that I watched the first episode of Goblin Slayer. I think it was my update video. I probably should finish that. This episode says, I'm going to outdo you, Goblin Slayer. We open up with an intentional sexual assault. I'm not going to use the R word, but yes, an intentional sexual assault. The maid, her face is pushed in the dirt. Well, you know her name is Rita because the young maiden that's screaming for her is saying, Rita, help me, Rita. And these guys are just ripping their pants off. The big boss is taking a delight that the young lady has wet herself. And this is looking bad. It's like, what have I what did we just sign up for? And then all of a sudden, this big guy casts a shadow over him right before he's about to try to do the deed. And he's like, yeah, I usually don't do sneak attacks, but what you're doing is repulsive. So I took the liberty of doing this. Cuts him and three other dudes literally in half. I'm talking about arms, torsos, cut in half, and this is where we get our intro. And intro's pretty badass. Has a really good song. Maybe seen as generic, but it's really good. You can already tell that the art style is going to be the modern style in a way, because even shows produced by Mappa, such as Demon Slayer, they do a mixture of hand drawn and 3D animation. Looks good in here too. I believe this is Studio Kai I wrote down who it was in here. I don't remember. I got my little notes right here. Um, but yeah, intro's pretty good. We're already shown a couple of the characters that you know is going to be in it, and even in the intro, we see this guy here protects a girl from a monster, an orc. We see a dragon. We see hilarity. We see a cute little green nine-tailed fox that sits on his head. We see an elf woman with the sword. Okay, let's see where this goes. Now we are greeted to him being underneath a tree. So this is going back in time. It doesn't address it. You realize that you're going back in time once he gets to these events. And this is what our guy. This is our guy right here. Sorry if you can't see it all that well, but yeah, this is our guy. So he's under a tree. And he wonders where he is. He screams, "What the heck is going on?" He tells himself to calm down, but I notice with my Japanese hearing ear, I think he calls himself June. I think he calls himself June. I'm not 100%, but I think his real name might be June. He tells himself to calm down. He recognizes the armor set he's in. He's in the holy armor of Belunus. It's an OP armor set. He has the twilight cloak that resists dark and can replenish his mana. He also has the holy shield of Tetuitus. And he has the holy thunder sword Kalabog. Dude, he is playing his character art from a certain online MMORPG. Doesn't give the name, but we don't need the name. And we get in the background of him kind of like celebrating that he's in this armor. We openly see his stats are high, his resistances are high. He must have been playing this game for a long time. He remembers falling asleep to playing the game. And he's like, "Man, I don't have any weight. Everything feels light." He does one of his moves called the Wyvern Slash, cutting down a score of trees. He goes, "Wow, I didn't think a real life Wyvern Slash would be that deadly." And then he's like, "Wait, I can do magic too." And he casts fire. And he said, "It feels like a game, but this is much too real." And he remembers that his first primary job was Holy Knight, and his second job was Priest, which means he shouldn't be able to use magic like fire at all. And he's wondering if he's been upgraded on the Holy Knight path. You know, we do see in the background other types of classes like Summoner. I like Summoners, Sacred Knight, Bishop, etc., etc. And he's glad that he's just not stuck with just the Holy Knight stuff because, like, it's good for role playing, but now that he's in a real world situation, he's glad that he has it. Um, he wants to put his skills to the test, but he is pretty hungry. He has no food, no money, so he uses the gate spell. And gate spells are pretty common in most RPGs, MMORPGs. They get you from one place to a place that you've been before. And when he uses it, it takes him off the cliff. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I haven't technically been anywhere." So he's in a situation where he has all his stuff. He's starting over because he doesn't have money, but he gets to keep all his cool stuff. But there's a catch. So he starts moving about the sky using a skill called Dimension Move. So it's a short range teleport that you can use in front of you. He's like in the game, I just would just click and I would just move, but now he's just moving. And he comes to a small stream. And this is where we get a good glance at the 3D animation they're using. Doesn't look off, doesn't look too slow, but it's noticeable. And he goes to the water, takes off his helmet, and he looks down and he goes, "Ah, that's right. I have a skeleton avatar. He is a skeleton man, but yet he is hungry." Whatever. So he looks down. He's like, "Okay. So I can't go into town with my helmet off because people are going to think I'm a monster, and I'm not going to be anybody's XP." I love it. This is kind of different from Ainz, isn't it? From Overlord. Now, I've only watched half of the first season. That's when it first came out. I did enjoy that show. The bit of it that I've seen, I want to finish it. But this is different. He has his feelings. He has emotions. He's technically not a bad guy. Ainz is technically playing under the villain faction, but whatever. He can eat. He needs to eat, and he feels emotions. He wants joy. So there's our differences there. Um, Now, because he doesn't want to cause a commotion, he's like, "I just can't take off my helmet," and he moves forward. And when we get into this town, the town is called Liverte Castle Town. People are moving about, doing their daily stuff. There's stands everywhere. Even over here, someone talks about a basilisk on the outskirts of town. I wonder if that would actually come up again. Spoiler, it doesn't come up again in this episode, but I wonder if it comes up again. So there are many pots. There's a bunch of food around, and a woman offers to make him a deal. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Nightman or Sir Knight, I'll make you a deal." He's like, "Sorry, I don't have any money." She's like, "That's kind of weird. Look at he's pristine white and gold with some good old purple night." And he's smelling. It looks like roast duck or who it could be roast beast from the Grinch. Who knows? But it's a roasted something. It's just making him hungry, and he notices a mercenary, the mercenaries guild, right? And he goes in, and he instantly catches the eye of everyone. And he goes to the guy at the front. He says, "So I just need to get a mercenary license in order to do jobs off of that board, right?" Guy goes, "Yeah, pretty much." He says, "Cool, hook me up with one." And he says, "Well, kind of surprised someone, a knight like yourself would need this, because don't you already work with someone?" And excuse me, I skipped ahead, but don't worry, I'll double back. And he basically flat out goes, "Well, I got to play along." And instead, he's like, "I have to play along. I got to make sure that the way I act matches what my stature should be." He goes, "Well, I'm coming under some circumstances that require me to get a mercenary license. I would just like to leave it there." And the guys go, "Okay, I get it." Moments before, though, gotta dial it back, guys. He was walking through just admiring the fantasy setting. He's like, "Oh, fantasy, fantasy." This guy likes his fantasy settings. And he's in a back alley. In this back alley, there's some back alley dealings going on. There's a young woman with pink hair with a cloak over her head talking to another guy. And I guess the guy was supposed to get her information, but he didn't give her enough. And she's upset, and the guy's like, "Hey, payment upon duties being fulfilled, and I fulfilled the duty." And she's just like, "Fine, whatever." And he's trying to hide against the wall, but of course he can't hide. He's massive. And he's like, "I don't want them to think I'm just eavesdropping, just sitting here." And the guy, and he has really good hearing, because here's the guy that says, what does he say about the? Oh, he calls her something something elf. I think he calls her lousy elf. And dude's like, Ark is like, "Wait a minute, she's an elf," and he spots the pointy ears, and he's excited. He has to calm himself down. Whenever he gets excited, his little skeleton eyes are just these blue flashes. It's great. I love that he doesn't actually have eyes, but he has blue flashes whenever he's excited about something. And she walks past, and he's like, "All right, well," he's getting hungry again. That's when he went to the mercenary guild. Now, the keeper, pardon me, the keeper, because he lost his woman. He's going to try to find her and talk to her, but he lost her. The keeper has said that, well, there's beasts, monsters, and bandits. You got to kill three of each, or not like all three. He has to kill 9 things. No, he has to kill just 3 of these, any of them. Mix and match if you want, and then that's how he gets it. That's the trial for it. And so he's excited. He has to calm himself down. He goes, "All right, cool. I will go and do this." And it's crazy. It's funny because another looks like a warrior comes up to the keeper. He was wearing red, and he says, "It's kind of crazy that a guy like that would need a mercenary's license." And the keeper goes, I wouldn't. I can tell his situation is complicated. He has to be a guy that's forced to take mercenary work to pay for a sick child's, medicine and stuff like that." And even the other guys playing into it go, "Oh man, it's such a tragedy. Wishing you good luck, Sir Knight." And he can hear this. He's going, "All right, well, I have a backstory somehow." Ark has already killed 2 boars, and he's kind of lamenting, going, "Man, I really wish I could just fight a monster, but I guess in this setting, monsters will still be rare." And an orc that looks like a boar comes right out of the grass, right out of the bushes, and he's hyped. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna do this," and cleaves that thing in two. Yeah, cleaves it right in two. And this is where we get our super long title. I kind of like this. I like that it's not structured the same, where it's like opening, intro, title. This if it flows with how the show works, I believe. Well, with the structure of the show, as it appears to me. But I digress. So he's kind of limiting, going, yeah, this was a low level monster encounter, but hey, I got all three of the things I need. He has them in a sack, and he's like, man, I didn't figure a monster would be this heavy to carry. But as he walks up, things are starting to heat up because it looks like a caravan and there's bandits. They're fighting these other armed knights. Pardon me. And we watch them kill one guy. It looks like all these knights are just dead now. And he's like, oh, these are bandits. And he can I like a character that's able to assess things and be smart, but not like he's not smart to the point of, oh, this guy's broken. No, he's smart to, like, I can read context clues. He sees that Rita is the maid and that the young lady's with her. Young blonde lady wearing green. Well, then we are greeted to the same scene that we see in the intro. Rita's face in the dirt. Um, Obvious fan service is obvious because Rita's busting, so that's the one thing he knows, his face in the dirt. Gets threatened by the guy who's holding her down that, yeah, you're gonna be next. Don't worry about it. And we get the whole thing. Meanwhile, this one, I'm like, dude, you're overthinking it now, because he's thinking to himself, okay, it's different from hunting monsters because fighting humans work is kind of like PvP, right? So there's way more of them than it is of him. And he's thinking, and he goes, you know what? After hearing the young lady scream, he says, you know what? I got this high mythic class gear. I can do this. I can defend them. I can save them. Hypes himself up, and he teleports right in, same as the intro. Doesn't give the speech this time, and this is where he slashes them in half. The rest of the gang is like, "What the hell is going on?" And they see this dude in this splendiferous armor. The young lady. This is one of 5 times that she looks at him. Where he saved her, and she's just looking at him like, "Oh." And these guys hightail it. They run. But you would think, yeah, he's a good guy. He's just gonna let him go, right? Y'all, this man turns with his blade. We get the image of a green dragon roaring. And by green dragon, I mean the traditional European green dragon. It's a wyvern. He's about to use the wyvern slash. When he does use it, it obliterates these guys. There's no blood. There's no bones. There's no body. It is Gohan killing Cell. Just nothing. 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 And so, as the young lady has gone up to Rita, he walks over like a boss. And he checks on them, and Rita's thanking him and introduces the lady. The lady is Lauren Laria du Liverte. She is obviously the last name of the castle town. Obviously, she is part of the royal family. And that explains the reason why Rita was saying, if you do this, you're going to be sorry. Which they were, actually. Rita is her attendant, and they ask if he's in the service of a lord, given that he's a knight. And he thinks of his backstory. He's like, wait a minute. I like the juxtaposition because we see the helmet, and then we see his skeleton with the flashy eye. He goes, oh, I can say that I'm on a journey to cure a curse that I have. Yeah, that'll be a good backstory, which is smart thinking, because you can't really run around as a eating, drinking, breathing skeleton man. You gotta have something going on. So maybe they could cure that. Maybe that could be a thing. Who knows? But he goes and says, you know what? We'll talk about everything later. You guys go ahead and get dressed. I'll clear up, the rest of the bandits. He means their bodies. And so he goes, even though they were bandits, he doesn't want to just leave their bodies just strewn about. So he uses fire to burn them, saying they could be nourishment for the flowers. And he's wondering, he's like, man, I don't feel anything for killing somebody. And this is my first time killing anybody. He's like, I wonder if it's the lack of guilt is because they were bad guys. Well, he glances over. He sees we get to see the young lady being dressed. Nothing too etchy, guys. Nothing too perverted. Just watching. He sees that she's getting dressed. He's like, cool. I can loot these guys, and they won't notice it. Because the bandits have 3 horses, a black one and 2 brown ones. Cool. Takes all their crap, puts it on the horses. And Rita, they're both fully clothed now. the lady herself now, actually, I just said her name, guys. Lauren, Lady Lauren, she thanks him herself, and Rita asks for one more thing, and he's gonna escort them back into the castle town. And this whole time, this is two more times, so this is three times. Lady Lauren has looked up at him, this shining silver, shining, glimmering knight, and pardon me. And Rita asks, he says, "So, can you tell me your name?" First he says, uh, "I can't thank you enough. There's nothing we could do to repay you." And he goes, "Don't even thank me. I just happen to be in the vicinity," which is true, which is also a very heroic thing to say. It's just I was here. I did the right thing. And at this, when he says this, the young lady, is just adoringly just looking at him. He can feel. He's like, "Man, she's staring a hole in me, dude. You're making this young maiden fall in love with you, whether you know it or not." Oh man, that's only four times. I thought it was five. Anyway, Rita asks, "What's his name?" And he goes, I'm a simple traveler on a winding journey. My name is Ark." And then she looks at him again. "I got you. I got you." She did it five times. He looked pretty cool. We hear stomach rumbling again. He's still hungry. They get back to Liverte. He shows proof, and he says, "So can you hook me up with the license?" And the guy goes, "I didn't expect you to do all this in one day." And the Red Knight from earlier says, "Hey, congratulations, Sir Knight. Have a drink with us, a drink on us." And he's just like, "Yeah, I'll drink later. Just got stuff to do. Can't really show that skeleton face, right?" And the boss, the shop guy, the mercenary guild shop guy, goes, "Hey, you forgot to take this, what do they call it? Is it called a runestone? Runestone from the orc that he killed." And he throws him this dark purpley stone. He tells him, "Any monsters you kill, they probably will have runestones on them, and you can use runestones to make magic items and weapons. So always take them off." He gives them a thing that looks like a credit card, more like a credit card than a license. And we see 3 stars, a 3 star mercenary guild license. He says you can do any of the jobs that are on the board, but if you really want high end jobs, you have to join a mercenary guild. So not just the standard guild. This is where you get your license, but you have to join someone to get higher paid jobs. Kind of like a fairy tale. Fairy tale, anime, manga. Their guild, they have their own stuff on the board that people come in and ask them to do. And pretty sure that the overall city asks all guilds to do certain things. Whoever does it first wins, right? So, stomach rumbles. He's going, "You know what? I'm gonna worry about all this later." He goes to an inn. He asks one of the innkeepers. I don't know if he asked the inn lady, but he just asked someone to bring him food and drink as quickly as possible to his room. Can't eat in front of people, right? And he is scarfing this food down. He is hungry. He even reflects. Food tastes really good once you've worked for it, earned it, and you've been waiting for it. He's like, "The ale is a little warm, but it's nice and fruity, nice and sweet." He says, "This isn't a game. This is reality, another world, and another world. Isekai literally equals another world." So he says Isekai, and he's like, "There's more fantasy stuff for me to do." He's laughing, and he's laughing heartily. He has a nice voice, not too deep, not high, not too deep, just a nice even voice. And he gives a hearty laugh, and we can see outside of his window that skeleton, that skull, throwing back and laughing, kind of like what's his name, Brook from One Piece. We get that minus the afro, no afro, but he's laughing, yucking it up. And this is where we end. And the ending is pretty nice. It's a decent ending song. Sounds like a J-pop group, not J-pop, yeah, J-pop group. Sounds like an idol group singing the song, because we get a better look at the elf lady with her sword and her outfit that kind of looks like Asuna from Sword Art Online. That's a more bust showing. We see a ninja doll girl, so that's another person that wasn't in the intro. We do see that green nine-tailed animal sitting on top of his head. Pretty sure that's gonna be his familiar buddy. 3D art looks good in this ending. Um, Studio Kai is the one that made this. Next episode is called "First Job, A Girl's Wish, and Approaching Shadow." These titles are way too long. There's no way I can fit them in this YouTube box. But yeah, first episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it deeply. Uh, if I were to compare it with, I'll compare it with Goblin Slayer. How about that? And I'll compare it with Overlord. Overlord had to ramp up a little bit, and it was different. It was the first one that did the whole here's a skeleton man. Goblin Slayer started with a hey, yeah, this looks like a normal fantasy anime, right? Looks like everyone's just gonna go and kill things, right? Goblin, ignore the title Goblin Slayer. Don't worry about that. And then the sexual assault happens, and then he murders all the goblins, and then he does it ruthlessly and efficiently to the point where the mage is like, "I'm gonna chill with you, guy." This is like the child of both of those things smushed together. We have a pretty much heroic guy who's just wants to enjoy this fantasy world he's in. Hey, if you're transported to a world when all you did was fall asleep while playing the game world that you're in, why not enjoy it? He does. There's no question about if he's gonna get home. There's no question about whether he wants to go home. He's just like, might as well enjoy it, right? Cool. I'm looking forward to this because this is different. I don't know if this will have an overarching plot. I don't know if it's gonna be darker later on. We've already been shown some adult themes here, and that's okay. I am enjoying this. For that, because it is not the first, but it is unique in its attempt to not be overly unique. I have to give this a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed this greatly. If you've seen Skeleton Knight from Another World, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the first episode. Let me know what you think of isekais in general. This spring of isekais, I had one more isekai show and two more slice of lives, and that's before Komi at the end of this year. I still gotta wrap up Shaman King. You guys should definitely hit that subscribe button to see more of the stuff I'm doing here, and hit the notification bell to be notified more videos like this. And don't forget to hit that like button. Helps others to see the video. And please feel free to share the video so others can see what a great review we're having here. That's right. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to spend some time with me. Please be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe out there, you all. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, please don't be a jerk. And I will most definitely see you guys next time. Note to self, don't pick any weird demon classes if I'm playing an MMO.